Getting accepted to the university turned out to be easier than getting accepted into the dance department at the university. I moved to Long Beach and moved into the dorms. All I had to do was audition for the dance department. In my mind, I thought it would be a slam dunk, but that is how naive I was. Did I mention that I didn't actually have any technical dance classes? I just moved my body. Turns out that wasn't enough. I didn't make the first audition. I was devastated. What in the heck am I going to do? Getting into the dance department was the only reason I wanted to go to college. The department chair suggested that I stay and enroll in pre-ballet and pre-modern dance classes for the semester and re-audition at the end of the semester. So I did that and stayed in Long Beach for the semester. Those dance classes were the first dance classes I had seriously taken. I also took the leftover general education classes that I needed as a prerequisite to major in anything. I auditioned the second time, and I didn't make it again. I was devastated again, and I cried for hours in my dorm room. I went home for the Christmas break, and my mom informed me that we were too poor to pay for me to go to college, and that I couldn't go back. I went to my room and I cried again for hours. My dreams were being destroyed. How could this be? Then my mom came into my room all of a sudden and informed me that she could get a loan that she could take out so that I could afford to go back to college. I was in shock, but I wasn't going to fight it. I was going back. I went back and I auditioned for the third time and finally made it on probation. That if I didn't improve within the next semester, I would be kicked out of the department. You'd better believe I improved. In fact, I improved enough to receive a letter from the faculty and the department chair apologizing for not accepting me sooner. I performed in every concert while I was there. I choreographed solos and group pieces that were in the student and faculty concerts. I performed in pieces that closed the galas at the American College Dance Festival at Scripps College and Denton, Texas. I auditioned one of my solos for the Fine Arts Affiliate Scholarship, and I won. So I was able to extend my stay and receive a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Modern Dance Performance. I just remembered something. The piece that I auditioned for the Fine Arts Affiliates was not the solo Bird's Eye View. The solo Bird's Eye View was in a faculty concert. This piece was another solo I choreographed specifically for the audition called Burnt. I remember a little bit of the choreography, lots of interesting floor work, and a dress, a long black dress with a low back with a crisscross. There was a fantastic cotton stretchy material that would wait. No! That costume was for another solo I did called Espere. Both Espere and Bird's Eye View incorporated art pieces that would be made by students from the art department. I was quite the solo artist, and I liked to collaborate with artists of other genre. I came up with the idea of YAC, or YAC, Young Artists Collaborating. Then when we got old, it would be called OAC, or Old Artists Collaborating. Nobody wanted to get on board though, so it never came of anything. One weekend, during my first semester at CSULB, I was living in the dorms. I was the oldest person in the dorms at the age of 21. Everyone else was barely 18. I was surprised to find out how little I had in common with the rest of my suite mates. During breaks, all of them would go home. I would just stay at the dorms over the break. This one weekend, I was surprised to hear from my high school crush. His name is Paul, by the way. He came to visit me. I couldn't believe it. He hadn't reached out to me since he told me he didn't want to see me anymore at high school. I don't know why he came to see me, but I wasn't going to fight it. I still had major feelings for him. I wanted to be his girlfriend. It was one of the most blissful weekends I've ever had. We walked around campus together. He bought me some items at the university gift shop. One CSULB sweatshirt and some other things. It all amounted to about $90. I couldn't believe it. No one had ever bought me anything just for the heck of it, especially not for that amount, and just because it seemed like he cared about me. He stayed in my dorm with me. My roommate was gone for the weekend. So were the other suite mates on my side of the bathroom. Just a couple of people stayed on the adjoining suite on the other side of the bathroom and living area. I wasn't close to anyone, so I would have been by myself that weekend. We slept in the same bed, and we made out, but nothing more. It made me think maybe he was doing cocaine. Whatever the reason, I knew I probably wouldn't be seeing him after that visit. Before he left, we took a shower together, and while we were in the shower, one of the suite mates from the other side came into the bathroom when we were about finished. I got out of the shower and left him in there and closed the curtain, while I made sure she wasn't going to see him in there. After she left, I came over to the shower and I opened the curtain real fast, and he was standing there with one hand over his privates and another over his mouth because he was trying not to laugh or make any noise. From what I got from his sign language was that he thought I was the suite mate coming over to open the shower curtain. We both giggled all the way back to the room. It still makes me giggle today. He was so cute, and we did have a special little friendship that I will never forget. It was during these years living in Long Beach that I started noticing some peculiarities when I would go home for Christmas and summer vacations. There was a disconnect. Empty conversations in the kitchen over coffee and bacon. My mom would say, "Your dad called and he asked me if you were a lesbian." I was like, "What?" I wouldn't say much. I never really got a word in. Nobody really cared about how I felt about my dad asking my mom if I was a lesbian. I was kind of insulted because I am not a lesbian, and he made it seem as if I were, it would be a bad thing. She also said one time, "Your dad called and he asked me if you're addicted to cocaine." I again was like, In my mind I was thinking, what the hell? Where in the world would he even think of that? I don't do cocaine. Why is he asking these questions, and why is he asking my mom? He doesn't have the guts to call me and ask me? I would tell him the truth. I was like, one more thing, and he's going to have me as a guest on Jerry Springer. Then there was this one time that my stepdad stopped me to talk to me in the kitchen. I was showing my final grades from the semester I had just finished. I had received an A+ in my final in Trincha Shapley's Modern Dance 2 class. She told me I was the only one in the class to receive an A+, and it was because of my musicality. She said the way I moved to the music during my final was exquisite, and she had no other choice but to give me the A+. I was so proud of myself, I had to share it with my family. But his response was not what I thought it would be. He says, "Cool, but why aren't you taking like history or English or those types of classes?" I again responded with, complete and utter shock. What the hell? I can't remember what, if anything, I said after that, but I know I was disappointed because that just proved to me that they were already ignoring me. If they were paying any attention at all, they would know that I finished all of those classes during community college at Hartnell when I was living in their home. I just couldn't take it anymore. My mother seemed to have a problem with constantly trying to set me up with someone. Anyone. It didn't matter who or what they were about. She was trying to convince me this one time to go out with this guy that, as she put it, "Oh, the poor guy, his wife of 20 years left him with their 3 children. You should go out with him." I responded, "Heck no. Why should I go out with him? He was probably a total jerk to his wife for 20 years. She probably warned him several times that she would leave him if he didn't get his shit together. And he never did, so she finally left. Why would I want to go out with him?" It was getting ridiculous having to deal with this constant setups. So I stopped going north during vacations. One summer I spent with my dad again. It was fun summer. I worked at Magic Mountain in their cash control department. I got to sit there and count the millions of dollars going through there on a daily basis. Turns out I have an affinity to math. I considered minoring in math, but my dance schedule was too much. Majoring in dance was more than just taking classes. It's taking more than a full schedule of classes all day. Some semesters I was taking 23 units because I was repeating level 1 and 2 modern and ballet classes, and then rehearsing all night, and then going to work the rest of the time, then going home and going to sleep and waking up and doing it all over again. And no, on weekends, you rehearse and go to work. Then when you really think about it, these classes aren't classes where you sit there and take notes from a lecture. These classes were dance classes. I was moving my body for 8 hours a day and working as a waitress at night.